Hi, everybody. This is Adam Elenbaas from Nightlight Astrology, and this is your astrological overview for the month of March 2019. So in this overview, I'm going to be talking about all of the biggest transits of the month of March, at least in this astrologer's opinion, and hopefully this will give you some sense of what to look for and what timelines, what dates are very important and stuff like that. So let's just start with one of the most obvious and immediate transits of the month. These are not based on any kind of houses. So you're seeing whole sign houses right now. You can ignore the houses. We're taking these mostly in terms of the archetypal combinations of the planets. So what happens on March 1st? Venus in Capricorn moves into a square with Uranus in Aries. You can expect themes of disruption in relationships, originality and inventiveness in relationships, or sexually or artistically, but also, generally speaking, the need to individuate relative to the other that you're joined with. Whatever the other is, whatever you're joined to in life is usually signified on some level by Venus in astrology. When Uranus comes, there's some need to shake up that union so that it looks different, so that it acts or behaves differently, or so that you're no longer a part of it because you need to be your own thing or do your own thing. So a moment of creative individuation, liberation, originality, but it's also can be very disruptive and erratic. I quit, I leave, I'm done. Or the sudden and unexpected breakup of unions or bonds. So there's a pretty intense transit to start the month. I'm going through these a little bit more quickly than I usually would because I'm leaving for India this week. And so this is coming out early. And I'm putting this out early, and I'm doing a little bit of a quicker edition because I'm trying to get everything done before I leave. But let me go on and just so that you know as I go through if it seems a little quicker than normal. Might not be a bad thing since I tend to labor everything too long probably anyway. Anyway, so you can see the new moon on March 6th. Very big moment because Uranus is also entering Taurus on that day. It's a new moon. Mercury's turning retrograde. The new moon is conjoined with Neptune. Mercury's turning retrograde in Pisces. It is it's a Pisces extravaganza and is a very Neptunian moment overall. So what does that mean? Well, a new moon starts something new, and yet the theme of Neptune will pervade whatever kind of seed is being planted when the new moon conjoins Neptune. So something new, something Neptunian unfolding over the next month. However, it also signifies some kind of reversal of fortune because anytime a planet is turning retrograde, usually some kind of condition is reversing itself. So a reversal of fortune, a Neptunian seed that's being planted, a new vision, a new dream, a new idea, revising an old vision or dream, or returning to some former source of inspiration. On the other hand, Neptune's underlying goal is to dissolve all differences for the sake of unity. That is sort of Neptune's motivation. So the goal of unity with something higher, the desire to see a higher truth and to merge with it, or to have some personal higher realization. These are Neptune, sun, moon themes at a new moon. But the potential for our judgment, or the faculty of our discernment to be weak or faulty or loose is also there because Mercury's in its fall and its detriment, turning retrograde, going to be falling under the beams of the sun. It's a difficult moment for Mercury this month. This Mercury retrograde could be very interesting in terms of the mainstream media and news, in terms of disinformation, false ideas and false claims. Not that there's any shortage of this, but it could be a little bit more extravagant and sort of like the idea of conspiracies and paranoia and rumors and gossip and revelations and wait, it was true, it wasn't true. And this could be quite spectacular this month. This is, by the way, par for the course when Neptune is in Pisces in general. We've been going through a long period of time of where the mood of the zeitgeist is toward the desire for greater unity and a greater intolerance for diversity, whether that's white nationalism or whether that's hyper intolerant people on the left. It doesn't matter. The desire for underlying unity and doing away with whatever is considered to be different is part of what Neptune is all about. Neptune is related to genocide. Neptune is related to things like the Holocaust. Neptune is related to, extreme communist slaughter of people or extreme fascist slaughter of people. When there is intolerance for diversity on some level, I know it sounds weird, but there is Neptune. And the reason for that is that Neptune, at its worst, seeks underlying unity in really mundane, superficial ways. We're not talking about the universal oneness of God or something like that, which could be Neptunian as well. We're talking about the Aryan race, or some kind of grand idea that's based on race or money or whatever, something that's very material. So at any rate, there could be a real theme of sort of like intolerance to difference or diversity this month that comes through, that's very strong, and yet different kinds of hypocrisies, double standards, and lies, deception could be a part of what's uncovered. So be careful about what kind of emotional highs you get on before getting all of the facts straight. Now, that's the new moon for the month. Uranus going into Taurus. I've given a 3-part talk on Uranus into Taurus, so check that out on my YouTube channel. But Uranus into Taurus, again, now to stay all the way into 2025. I think it goes into 2026 even a little bit. That transit, you'll feel it, and you can think of the shakeup around earthy things. When it entered last year, I believe there was the volcanoes in Hawaii started erupting or something like that. You had the intense focus from a lot of astrologers on ecological changes. So watch probably for some of those themes again, starting this month of March. There might be some big splashes. Just watch, from March 6th through the end of the month, watch as that Uranian erratic energy starts shaking the earthy foundations of things and starts disturbing what we think of as normal, peaceful, beautiful, all Venus-related themes as well. All right, so that's the 6th. Now, if we go forward a little bit, you're going to see that on the 14th through the 19th, Mars is going to be going through trines to Saturn and Pluto, from Taurus to Capricorn. Now, again, houses don't matter here. We're just looking at the planets and signs. Mars and Taurus is in its detriment, right? It's in Venus's sign. So it's laboring. It's very productive, might be a little unyielding, stubborn, kind of clumsy, trying to be intense and martial, but struggling because it also has to act through the diplomacy and harmony of Venus. It's an awkward place for Mars. But I like this set of trines between the 14th and the 19th of March. Trine to Saturn. Trines are productive. They're of the nature of Jupiter. They bring blessings. They promote growth, etc. Growth-oriented transit, but it's hard work, it's discipline, it's focus, it's a more contained or rigid energy, but shapes, molds things. So potentially very productive, but if not, a little bit stressful or pressuring. And then Mars trine to Pluto, deep, intense, cathartic, driven. So potentially, I think overall, a period where I would define it as very industrious on the whole, but potentially a little bit more, kind of like you're white knuckling it a little bit maybe during this time. So look for that time in particular to make sure you're also bringing in some of that. Maybe a good time to bring in some of that water from all the Pisces energy. I think the combination of these earthy trines plus all of the watery energy, I think the potential to work hard on behalf of one's emotional desires, dreams, or ideals is likely. But again, I'm a little worried this month that we're gonna just get a little too intense and fired up, and try to go too hard at things without all the information or without an appropriate level of discernment or correct judgment being used. That's, a little bit of a worry that I have looking at these transits. So it's something that I'm kind of keeping in my own notebook. But anyway, you go forward to March 20th, and wow, it's such a big moment. You can see here, I'll move it ahead so you can see. There we go. So the sun, spring equinox, just as the moon is coming full in Libra at about the 0 degree marker, and sun will conjoin with Chiron. This is a powerful moment for the sun in Aries, a powerful Aries ingress. It marks themes for the zodiacal year to come that have a lot to do with the assertiveness or aggressiveness of Mars, but also the maturity, the wisdom, the healing, exploration of wounds that are associated with Chiron. In the collective, I wonder if we're not going to be looking a little bit at the theme of the wounded male, of the wounded warrior, the leader who is being seen and exposed somehow for what they are, and wisdom around what we understand as strength in the world. And I wonder if there's not going to be a real karmic moment around that with the full moon at the spring equinox also in Libra, the scales of balance and justice. So remember, Saturn, planet of justice, is exalted in Libra. So at any rate, very powerful equinox moment. And then you can see at the exact same time, Venus and Mars getting into a square. It's sexual, it's dynamic, maybe a little contentious in relationships. There's a nice push and pull between the yin and the yang at that time. That's really, I think it's creative, it's romantic, it's sexual, but also it has the feeling, because Mars is in Venus's sign, and Venus is in the superior square of Mars, being asked to surrender on behalf of something Venusian. This is the same thing we're seeing with the sun in Aries, with Chiron. There's a healing moment for the masculine, being asked to be submissive on some level to the feminine. Now that could be happening within us, within the society. I don't think we need to take it as literally male and female dynamics. It's just the strong is becoming a little bit weak, and humbling oneself a little bit, I think. So that's something that I'm picking up right around the 20th and 21st. Then you can see going forward, the 24th through the 29th, look at this. Then you're going to have Mercury in a conjunction with Neptune. Venus will enter her exaltation in Pisces, and then Mercury will turn direct in a conjunction basically with Neptune, and then move forward into conjunction with Neptune again by the beginning of April. There's a lot of Neptune Mercury this month. So, let me tell you a Neptune Mercury story. I had a friend of mine yesterday. Mercury was conjoined with Neptune in direct motion yesterday for the first time. It was the 18th of February yesterday. Today's the 19th. Had a friend yesterday that told me that their recently deceased grandfather was found, a picture of him, I should say, was found on a random box in a thrift store not long after this person's grandmother was concerned on a certain level as to, how her deceased husband was faring in the afterlife, so to speak. Was he okay? Give me a sign kind of thing. And this guy went to a thrift store shopping, and there was a box. It was a grocery box. And weirdly, it had a picture of his grandfather. Apparently, they had made some copies of pictures of his grandfather for the funeral. And they had put them on a tag board so people could see the pictures of him at the funeral on like a stand. And the leftover copies, had been left or disposed of at a store or something, and somehow someone had taken one of the leftover copies and just taped it onto this box. So, and get this, not only that, but they took two versions of it, and so they put one version of his grandfather, and then they put the other version of him, almost like a joke, like his head coming out from behind his own shoulder, like looking over his own shoulder, going like this, like, here's my smiling face coming right out from the shoulder of the first photo of myself. So someone was playing around, bored, I guess, and made this image on the side of a grocery cardboard crate box. And then they put it, apparently the box went out and ended up becoming a part of a box that held thrift store objects, and this person found it. So he said, we were just talking with my grandma about how she was hoping that he was okay and that he would send a sign. And then I go and I find this box with him there. That's also Neptune Mercury, guys. That's such a Neptune Mercury moment where something from the other side just pokes through and says, hi. Whether it's ghosts, ancestors, spirits, God, however you want to think about it, angels, otherworldly communication with Neptune Mercury, and a real, sometimes real issues with people who don't have boundaries. So be very careful with that. People who just kind of want to sap your energy or whatever. And also the ability to be sort of intoxicated and to read into things too much. Oh my gosh, is it a bad sign? Oh, it's, just obsession with the meaning of things, and it means something. And it's, so if you're someone who gets paranoid, like I saw a crow on my car, I'm going to die, or, it's like that, just that kind of stuff. Just be careful, because the mind, there's a great story of, you use a lot in Indian philosophy. A person sees in the basement in the dark, a pile of rope, and they go like, oh, it's a snake. The light comes on and they realize, oh, it's a rope, right? Be careful of the difference between the snake and the rope this month. So, but know, weirdly, that sometimes ropes become snakes and end up saying something to us, even if they were just ropes all along. It's a weird part of how Neptune Mercury works. And it's a weird part of how symbolism works in our world. So at any rate, that's toward the very end of the month. I think Venus moving into Pisces is nice, romantic intoxication, but a very exalted Venus. Lovely forms of support, harmony, beauty coming in towards the end of the month there. So that's what I've got for you guys this month. Like I said, I'm heading to India this week, so this is coming out a little bit early, and it's a little shorter than usual. But for many people, I'm sure that that's more accessible. Sometimes usually my monthly overview goes like 45 minutes. So I hope that you've enjoyed this, that you have a beautiful month. I'll be back in March, and I'll look forward to connecting with you guys then. Okay, have a good one. Bye.